What's up, everybody? Back once again to give a little bit of my thoughts and my surprises from this NFL draft round one. Now, I'm not going to do how some people be like like bad choices or nothing like that. Just because I feel like the way they do it is more so say like at the player more than the team. But yeah, no, I was like, I'm gonna do some thoughts, but also some surprises, and I guess I'll do from the also the prospect of how I'm like well, the team. Why are they doing this? But hey, anyway, Bryce Young went number one. How pretty much everybody else has said, and how we all thought it was going to be. I forget who was talking about it, but it's like how I said in some of my other videos that I'm like this pick, and not only just because of the staff itself trying to dictate and figure out who their quarterback is, but also Tepper, and because I'm like, what's the shiny thing that's gonna put people in the seats? Bryce Young. What does Tepper need to do? We ain't gonna have anybody go to the playoffs. We need butts and seats. So let's get the Heisman winner that has also the potential to back it up, also on that spot. So nothing surprising here. Houston did take a quarterback, and it was C.J. Stroud, and I was on the team. Don't take a quarterback if you don't need to take a back quarterback if you don't want a quarterback. I was like I think that's dumb. But I also felt like that's if you really don't see any of these quarterbacks really worth drafting. And once CJ Stroud got picked, a lot of them were saying like, "Oh, that's just a smart player or whatever." And I'm like, it depends. Um, I was like, sit there. I was like, but I will say after that they did something that I did like that I see the purpose that if you was going to take a quarterback that you do this right off the bat. Or if you didn't take a quarterback you still did this, I'd also be fine with that as well. If they took Will Anderson as well. So that means you got your top quarterback and you also got the top defensive end. And which I'm totally fine with this type of pairing, or and also this type of moving up in the draft. Go ahead and get like the top prospects all at once, instead of just like waiting for somebody to fall. Or go ahead and get your people. I'm like they. This is really they really did a just like like playing Madden, where just like okay, I'm just gonna figure out how to get this pick and get my people straight up. I'm not letting the board dictate, and no. We gonna get who we gonna get. And I feel like that was sort of makes getting the quarterback number two when you didn't necessarily have to if you have this move already ready to go as well too. That way you're like, cool, I get two of the top prospects, no problem. But also, I wouldn't have been mad at them either if they would have got Will Anderson at like number two, and then like another top prospect at number three as well, or they would have had a chance at another dude at number 12. Anyway, so I mean, you already get two picks, so it's like it didn't really matter. I don't think you need a quarterback, especially you just trying to fill out your roster. But that's just me. But I like the fit of Stroud going there. One, you got some other quarterbacks to throw and let them get hit until you feel like Stroud is in there. But I feel like I was like the boom or bust that might be with Bryce Young, and I feel like more of that has to do with the fact that of like maybe him being small and being injured. How like we've seen like Murray and Baker and all of them get hurt, whereas like Stroud to me is high floor, whereas he'll be really consistent. I don't know if he'll ever be great, but I feel like he'll be really good. And if you put a really good team around him, that you won't have like I don't think he'll be. I don't think I think he could be Burrow. He can be Burrow, and it's not that Burrow isn't great or elite, but Burrow also has really great weapons around him that allows him to be at that level in a way that's sort of different than what Patrick Mahomes is, where like he does have great weapons, but also his talent also was making them that level as well too. So I like what the Texans did in general of that combination, getting those picks, and also Stroud where he went, and also getting their pass rusher in that sense. Now, surprising, but I like it. Didn't see it coming. Anthony Richardson to the Colts. Now, I thought that this would be a Levis spot, but I said myself personally, I'd go with Richardson because the only quarterback that you have to fear is Trevor Lawrence in that division. And somebody like Richardson and his talent can shorten that window really quick. They still have a team that is very veteran side heavy, with the defense and with Pittman and Taylor. They got they got the coordinator from Philadelphia, so you already know that he's going to be pretty much running schemes like Brown. I mean, not like Brown, like Hurts has. They still need more offensive talent to bring it all out, like how Hurts had. Um, but they also have Minshew there, and Minshew is there to basically provide all of the we're going to sit him on the bench until we feel like it's ready or until you screw up so badly uh, seat. So he won't have to be thrown into the fire, but you got a pretty good coordinator there that we know as a coordinator. We'll see how he does as a head coach. But their team is really like okay, and they're like, but they can be better. And you're also not in a division that really is threatening. So that I feel like will work out in and of itself. It was a pride of who they picked, but I also like the spot, and I like them also taking the high ceiling guy, and then seeing a little bit of him with the whole like being a firefighter and practicing for that. He has a lot of the Andrew Luck to him of the humbleness to him, not the golly gee that Andrew Luck came, but like the humbleness of him or whatever. But I also think that he also had a flair about him that's also something they haven't really had. And I'm like, when you think of the Colts, you just think of paint drying. I feel like even like I mean they're exciting, but they're exciting in foot and not even a football exciting. They're just like it's just like oh they do everything the right way exciting, and it's like okay cool yeah. But I like this where I'm like oh I actually might watch a Colts game to watch a Colts game, not just because the matchup or something like that. So that was also a pretty good one as well too. Um, other than that, the Falcons taking Bijan Robinson. I like Bijan Robinson. I don't understand it for the Falcons. Not really one bit. I mean, maybe this is a testament of believing so much in Desmond Ritter, and also their Arthur Smith and their coach, and he had Derrick Henry in Tennessee, so him having a top running back. Um, I can't think of the dude's name that was the running back for Atlanta, but I thought he did fairly well, and where you didn't need to take uh, Bijan if you was going to take a running back, I guess. But he is one of the better backs in general, and I feel like he's dynamic, and I feel like and maybe this is their year of trying to see if Ritter is that dude where you got London and you got Pitts and you have Bijan to where it's like we have somebody on in our offense in just about in every level. So that means that we pretty much got playmakers in all the sense to where you don't have to be great as a quarterback, but let's see how good you could be as a quarterback. So maybe that's what it is from that sense. I was like, other than that, I really wish he would. I was hoping that he'd go somewhere else where it seemed like it'd be more exciting, or a team that like if he would have been able to slip to the Philadelphia, I would. I was like that would have been crazy for him and Jalen Hurts. Uh, I also thought about him with the Bears, just him and Fields in a lot of situations. I thought that would have been really good as well too. Um, I'm like Seattle didn't need him, but that would have also been crazy in Seattle as well. Um, but yeah, I was like maybe a better spot, but I guess I get it. They're really trying that they want to unlock that whole offense, so that makes sense from there. Um, the Eagle getting Jalen Carter, I thought he would might have slipped to the Bears. Uh, I was like, considering everything that he went through, I didn't know how far he was going to go until somebody picked him. But everybody has to be like, the Eagles picked him. The Eagles picked him. So now, I mean, look, hey, y'all, you gonna have now you gonna have two top defensive tackles on the Eagles, and they already had a pass rushing crazy, machine. Yo, they trying to that gonna be a hard defense to go through. That's all I gotta say. Um, they are so athletic, just at the defensive tackle spots that, and where especially where it's spots that you're not supposed to be that athletic about. And you got two dudes who gonna be able to penetrate like that, along with your outside runner. You still got Reddick, and you got the quarters on the back end as well too. Yo, that's you might watch them just for defense alone. That's gonna be crazy. But that's that sort of a rich pick that they had luxury of making, so that's pretty good. Um, so we're going. I was like, the Lions drafting a running back. So first of all, shout out to that whole drafting a running back in the first round crap, because two of them went in here. So that's malarkey. But also, the Lions taking a running back. They still got Swift, and I know he sometimes get nicked up and stuff. But but they got him. But this is sort of one of those situations that I know I just said ha on the drafting of the running backs in the first round, but then there's also sort of like, well, just sort of the few where I make my point that I feel like you can if you're a team that needs it, but it will unlock your offense or you're right there. And I get that the Lions are sort of like right there as far as like Aaron's gone, so now the division is wide open, and you had a winning record last year, and you had a chance to make the playoffs. But they signed Montgomery. They still got Swift. You get this rookie running back who you probably could have got later on, but also I don't feel like your team is that in that situation where I'm like, nah, you still need. I was like, I still feel like you should have probably picked something else on defense and got that defense going because the offense was pretty good last year. I was like, your rookie receiver that you drafted last year gonna have a full year this year. You still got St. Brown. You have a pretty good line. Golf has been playing pretty well. And you got two running backs. So where I'm like, that's the situation. Now I'm like, you don't need to draft a top running back. So, but they did, and I would have thought that you should have probably went with another corner or, you know, defensive lineman. Cause you can never have too much of that. But hey, you have a running back, and the Eagles going to stop you with Jalen Carter. Anyway, so that one just weird to me. Nothing else really special. I just like Lucas Van Ness. I just like the Van name. Sound like some old like England sire. Like I have the cover that they got or something. I don't know. Shout out on my accent. Um, Nobody else will know that Tyree Wilson dude from Oakland. I think it was funny that they put in the bio that he had a long wingspan than LeBron. I mean, that is a long ass dude, but it was just funny. It was just funny seeing some of the facts that they had for some of the people. Um, but no, there was really nothing to note. But it is also compelling that pretty much at 20, there was just a run on receivers. Um, Seattle taking a receiver. Uh, at first, I was like, really? And I was a bit shocked. But then I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, so I was like, Locke is getting up there in age. Uh, and I was like, so you need somebody there for his eventual movement. And you do need, like, to a lot, like, the rest of that offense by having somebody else other than Metcalf. And he could play in the slot, and he could also play on the outside with Lockett and switch that up as well. So it wasn't that it was like crazy and surprising. Um, it was just like, but it was also again a luxury pick they got to have um, for them, and because they early in the draft they was able to take the corner, so it worked out for them. But then you had the Chargers taking the receiver, and that was a little surprising to me because I imagine Keenan Allen will still stay there, so I guess you could say that his replacement, Mike Williams, just got a contract, so he's going to be there for at least a couple of years. But they have good other receivers with Palmer and I can't think of the other dude's name, but they got a lot of run when their receivers were out. But the Chargers have always had they had Mike Williams for several years, and they've had Keenan Allen for like forever. But they've always had good receivers in behind them that I felt like could probably be other teams' twos, and on so them getting another receiver, I was like, the Chargers one of the rare team where like this, it almost felt like a luxury spot just because I would imagine that they would have grabbed one of the tight ends on the board just because they got Everett, and that's it. And Everett's a good tight end, but he's not. I mean, he's a decent tight end. I don't even say like good. Like he's decent, and he could be used really well, but he's not somebody to break it off. And I feel like that's what they need on that team. Or hell, they would have taken a running back. I'd have understood them taking a running back as well. With Eckler sort of wanting a new contract and being on the way in and out, and I can see that situation. But another receiver felt like a luxury spot. The Ravens taking Zay Flowers. I feel like that might have taken them out of the Hopkins race because that's what I thought they might have done. But I do like this pick. Like one, I do think they need more receivers, mainly because you don't know what Odell is going to be like, and even if you do get somewhat of like 80% old Odell, he might, if he gets hurt, then what? Bateman's always getting hurt, and then I was like, so then you just got like Duvernay, so you still need another receiver, and also too at this point, Bateman, I think, been 3 years, so he's still got a couple years. I don't know if he'll get his fifth, but he got a couple years, so you still get a young dude out here. And, I was like, so you get enough. So, like, the more weapons you get around, that means that no matter who's hurt and all this other stuff, you still have I was like, you still got receivers to do things with. And it might not take them all out the way out of Hopkins, because I was like, they only want like a second, third round, maybe something like that. So therefore, they could still have a shot. I was just thinking that what I thought they were going to do, just the Ravens being petty, I thought they were going to get Joey Porter Jr. just to be funny. Almost like how several years ago, Dallas was going to take Dallas Goedert, and the Eagles took him. And I thought that was hilarious. And so I thought the same thing. Or even before that, the Jets took Darrelle Revis when the Steelers were going to take Darrelle Revis because of him coming out of the pit. So I think stuff like that is funny and petty, and I thought that they were going to take Joey Porter Jr. Plus, I feel like they need another corner because their corners get hurt quite a bit as well too. But anyway, I think that's a really good pick because they could do depth and defense for in the rest couple of rounds. Then after that, you had the Vikings also taking another receiver, and it seems like I was like, I guess because it seems like they always are taking a receiver, but they really haven't. They just always had a good collection of receivers, with Diggs and Thielen and then Jefferson. But Jefferson is really the first round receiver, and now this one with Jordan Addison. So this is really just them taking receiver, but you need another receiver because now it's kind of just Jefferson and Osborne. Now that Thielen's gone, and I was like, Osborne, I think could be good enough to basically take that role that Thielen had. But you was going to need another person, especially if you got Kirk Cousins. And while he had a good year this year, how do you keep him sort of having a good enough year, having enough talent and people around him to where you don't have to see Kirk Cousins? I thought this could have been a spot for Will Levis or Hendon Hooker, just because I was like, just because they could be behind Kirk Cousins while Kirk Cousins still take the snap, but you got the 5 years, so therefore you're not in the. That way you still got time to have on their contract when you do get rid of Cousins. But then Buffalo taking a tight end. I was like, I feel like they've been wanting to sort of run like a 2 tight end set. I was like, I know they tried the OJ Howard experiment and it didn't work out, but I feel like they've been trying to do 2 tight ends for a while. And I think instead of like having so many receivers for Allen, I was like, he needs a lot of safety blankets, and I was like, a tight end is good for that. And you need somebody that can block while also catching passes and just being an outlet for Allen when he's like in that in between of like, should I run? Am I going to throw it deep? Oh, this interception about to happen. Ooh, a tight end. I think that pretty well. Thought there might be come more tight end because I was like, there's several teams that should have a need for a tight end, especially because a lot of these tight ends are more than just receivers. Also, other than that, there were really no other significant ones. I was like, the Eagles taking another defensive end. It just wild more so, and also another dude from Georgia. Jesus Christ, they're gonna be a terror. Will Levis and Hendon Hooker did not get drafted. I sort of felt like that with Hooker. I just thought that maybe somebody might, because he had to be recovering from an ACL, just like, oh, somebody will take a flyer on him for that 5th year. But if you could get him in the 2nd or 3rd round, I was like, that could have possibly been a 1st-round pick. I was like, cool, kudos to you. Will Levis, they're saying like he had a toe injury, but I also that had to do with him like sliding. I just imagine that pretty much everybody was just like, he's not worth taking the 1st round. There's not the same potential there, but get him in the 2nd round. Hey, open box special. But yeah, no, we'll see how the top of the draft goes for day 2. That looks like that'll be a lot more exciting just because I feel like this is one weird draft that everybody sort of got everything they sort of wanted and filled up needs in the process too. And you don't normally get that. There was really nobody that was like really reaches or something that you was like, oh, they put their need way above the talent level of this player that's sliding. There was none of that. It almost seemed like the whole draft, either the players were so even or the teams, and because they're all sort of like this far from each other, that their needs versus the talent level wasn't so wide that it didn't create anything wild. And that's really where you get all the stuff from, is really day 1 and round 1. After that, everything is just sort of just like, oh, cool, depth for the team. Because I was like, at this rate, there's not the same amount of like big names that you knew from college. It's just really just filling those spots at this point. Anyway, those are just my thoughts. That's all what I had of the 1st round. And so we'll see what day 2 brings. Anyway, if you like anything I had to say here, I appreciate it. Thanks. If not, hey, maybe next time. And there's other videos. But until then, peace. I'm out.